All right, I'm in the 2020 Community Cup. I'm on hole number one in Monday's qualifying round of the rookie division. I'm using today as a practice round. So today will be about. So here's how it worked. I went out this morning and I played in my odd account and I tested out the clubs and the ball that I thought I was going to be bringing at the hole, based on just some preliminary notes over the weekend, just kind of reviewing the playlist for the walkthrough. And then I went out there and put those out on the course to put them to the test. And I made a few changes to club and ball. There was a few, like on the first hole, I'm doing that rough bump and I'm actually in my sniper, not my grizzly. So there was a few changes like that I made, and just making sure that I know what I'm bringing to the hole. So that was all that it was about. I didn't really care. I made there's a few holes that I know we're doing some wind adjustments on just because we've played these holes in the past and I know we're way downhill. And so I did just like the basic stuff, but really today in my auto account was not, I could have cared less about the win stuff. Um, my whole goal was to make sure that I had the right ball and the right club for the tee. And then I ended up in the spot that I thought that I should end up with for the next club in my bag. And so one of the par fives, we're doing a rough bump. And which hole is that? That's hole number six. Like it was a katana the right club and did a Goliath work as my secondary, my long iron instead of my QB, and where was I at, and all that stuff worked. So today was about testing that. So now I'm in my second. So now I'm in my main account, and today is also a practice day. So now what I want to do is I know what club and ball I want to have. So I want to put that to the test. So now I'm going to go out there and put that club and ball to the test. And I do have some basic wind adjustments on some of these holes. And then I did make some observations from what I did in my odd account on those holes that if I didn't hit it perfect in there, I was looking really critically at distance. And so I made one of the par threes, the hole number 7. I was using 3 backspin, and I changed that to 2.5. And then I caught that in and then I caught that hole in one of the shootouts and I was able to make an adjustment to 2.5. And then I found that was perfect. So today is all about making those little adjustments, working on distance. Those holes that I hit in perfect, I was able to learn a few things about the wind adjustment. So I came in there and like some of the holes, I didn't do any extra wind adjustment. I was like, wow, I hit it perfect. And I ended up and the wind was blowing me that way. And I should have done a wind adjustment. Or I did a wind adjustment and I was doing minimum club, and what I should have been doing was I should still do that adjustment and I should have used my maximum club. So today is about learning those things. So with this account now, I already know what ball and club I'm using. So now I'm starting to look at what club adjustment am I using? Am I using a max club adjustment? Am I using a mid? Am I using a minimum? Where is it putting me if I didn't already figure that out in the first round? Like, hey, I'm ending up in the right spot with the right club, but I didn't write down on my notes, hey, you're in mid club or you're in minimum club. And so I know what those numbers are. So now I'm starting to tighten that up a little bit, because what I want to have happen is when I get into the qualifying round, I know what club, what ball, I know what the next club is. I know what my distance is. I know what number I'm going to use for the rings on that. I'm in mid club, so I'm using 1.9 if I'm in my Hornet. And so I know all that stuff. And now what I'm trying to do is I'm really focused on trying to hit perfect going into the cup so that I can start dialing in those micro wind adjustments. And the goal is that by the time you get to the opening round, you've got some base numbers. You've hit half the holes perfect, and I've made some numbers, and I'm still working on that stuff, trying to build up towards the weekend round. Minimum score, and I'm being generous here. Minimum score is minus 13, and that's with picking up hole number 2 and hole number 8 once per side, getting an eagle. And what if you're really looking for anything in the top 10, depending on your bracket, towards top 5, you're going to have to get an eagle on them both times, and that's minus 14. So that puts us at minus 26 to minus 28, and you're going to have to build on that if you want any chance for a win. You're going to have to pick up at least 2 per side on top of the 28. And so that means you're going to have to pick up that other par 4, or you're going to have to pick up one Alvy on one of these par 5s, or you're going to have to pick up one of those hole-in-ones. And you're going to have to pick up 2 on a side. So that's minus 16, and that puts us at minus 32. I think at minus 32, you have a banner shot. In some brackets, you may not even win a banner with a minus 32. And in some brackets, you may win with a minus 32. But I really think that when we're talking about winning score, you're going to need to shoot a minus 34 in a lot of these brackets in order to have a win. Now, it's somewhere between 32 and 34, but you may get in one of those brackets where you catch a good bracket and it only takes 31. But this type of tournament, it's going to be low scoring. We're going to see some monster scores this week. And so, thinking about having to shoot a minus 34 in order to have any shot at a banner. I know in the brackets that I'm playing in, that's going to be realistic. If you're playing in a Ricky bracket, Ricky brackets are the toughest brackets out there as far as the top score. What will happen is there'll be a separation. There'll be somebody at the top that shoots a minus 36. And then there'll be somebody that shoots a minus 30 or a minus 31. And then there may be one person at minus 28. And then it goes down. And then you're down in these mortal scores where it's like 5 people that shot the minus 28. And then the couple of 27s. And then, that 26 could net you a top 15, top 20. If you're in a rookie masters bracket, these kind of scores right here could go all the way down to 60, 70th place. And then you're going to have to start picking shots up in order to work your way up. The top scores in that bracket may be between 32 and 34, but it's going to be tighter. There may be 3 people at 32. The last time this was out, the top score was a minus 34, and I think those holes were easier. Than what we have here. So, I really do think somewhere between 32 and 34 is you could get a serious win. And like in some brackets, it could be the minus 30 that gets you a win. It's just really going to depend on what bracket you end up in. But as a base for minimum score so that you can go, hey, I shot a nice clean round, you're looking for one of these 2 numbers. And I would really try and focus on the minus 14 as the minimum. All right, let's see if we can get this done. Today is practice, so I'm not super concerned about the stuff. I do want to tighten up what I did in the front, and I am going to try and be a little more serious making the shot into the cup. But if I don't make it in, I'm not going to be disrespectful of my opponent, but I don't want to qualify today. Now, if I come out here in the first 3 holes and I pop off a hole-in-one Eagle Albie, it might make me change my religion, but that's my goal is not to practice today. And on days that I say that is when I hit that hole-in-one Eagle Albie, and then it makes me change my tune. But my goal right now is not to qualify today. I want to practice on these holes. So hole number 1, I'm doing the rough bump, and I'm taking a sniper. And I got multiple bags here, which is something I don't have in my other account. Well, I'll tell you, when you only have 1 bag, you better make sure you pick the right clubs. And when you get out there and go, you know what, I really would have taken that other shot. Tough luck, Charlie. You are committed at this point. Katana. And Katana's a 2. And the big thing here is that side spin. I want that side spin 3, which I don't have any of the low wind balls that are 2 power. Do I have? No, these bobbles are basically turkey balls. They're only 1 side spin. So that will not work. So sniper, Katana. That's what I'm going to have to use all week. What are the balls they're offering right now? Those are 4 power balls. They offered some, I think at the end of the last tournament, they had 2 different types that you could get in. There were 2 power. One of them was 2 power 1 5, and one of them was 2 3 4, I think, something like that. Unfortunately, I didn't buy any of them. I'm real selective about buying balls, and I try and do as many shots as I can where I try and figure it out with the normal balls. And if I can't, then, usually there's a way to get it done with the normal balls sometimes. In the last tournament in the Winter Major, there was a couple of those par 5s that if you didn't have big balls, you were pretty much just shooting for birdie. Okay, I'm going to do 1 per ring. Max right-hand side spin. It'll be 2 rings off. Hey, I got that. And I got that. You got to get a mile away from your ball in order to see the stuff. And I got all this crap in the way, so you can't see what's going on here. I'm going to go, and that is as close as I can get down in there. So, I need a telescope just to see the stuff. I'm going to do a 30% wind adjustment. That's 3, that's 6, that's 9, that's 3, 7, there's 3, 7, and I'm going to do a max wind adjustment. Hitting it perfect. Even though I was a minimum club, I did a max wind adjustment. And that little teeny bit of error right there, I will tell you, I could work for hours to try and work out that, and it could simply be that I was off trajectory because I can't get any closer to my ring set, and it's hard to see where the hell you're going. And where I had my ball guide, if I'd have zoomed in on it, I probably was up a little bit high right there. But what I noticed from my odd account, if you watch those videos, if you were new and you're watching my stuff again, hey, thanks for coming back, because that's why we practice. What I learned on that shot was that even though I'm in minimum club, I should have done a max ring adjustment, 1 per ring, and I still needed to add on 30% of the 30% wind. And another thing I found out in the practice round was from that spot down there, I was in one of the shootout holes and I was on here and I hit a 3-ring great to the left. And while I would not recommend that, I was able to, on a 3-ring great to the left with a sniper, dig myself out of the rough and ended up where I would have had a chip to get up. So if you epic fail to the left, you can still get out of the rough, especially if you hit like a 1-ring great to the left. You can get out of the rough, and that setup, I'm 2 rings off, so I can hit at least a 1-ring great to the right, if not a 2-ring great to the right, and still end up clipping the rough and not bouncing on the fairway and going a mile. Ideally, it's 1-ring great to the left or the right, or perfect, and ideally it's perfect, but you know, if we don't hit it perfect, something happens, we get lag or something happens, you just don't hit it perfect. There is a little bit of maneuverability there if you bring accurate stuff. So if you've got a Viper, you got lower developed clubs, and you have a Viper. A Viper, I can't remember what level it gets to. Is it level 9 when it gets to 66 accuracy? And before that, it's 1.9 per ring. So it's 2 per ring. So that means instead of 2 rings of separation, you're going to have 1, which means if you hit a great to the right, you're hitting the fairway, or there's a good chance. So with my lower developed account, I'm probably not going to do the rough bump. I'm probably going to shoot it straight up at it and try and maneuver my way up that way. So, but if you've got upper developed clubs, that sniper does work really well. All right, that was hole number 1 of the 2020 Community Cup and Monday's practice round in the rookie division. So we got some good notes on hole number 1, and then we learned some stuff today. And that's what it's all about. Thanks for watching.